shy. I know we're in a church, but this isn't church. Okay. Thanks everybody for being here. My name is Tim Stauffer. I'm with the Iola Register, and I wanted to thank, first of all, Watershed Collective. Thank you very much, Anna, for all your help, and everybody, so please, a round of applause for them. You've been a most gracious host, so thank you very, very much for opening your space to us. I still can almost smell the pizza and hear the karaoke from the old days of David. But I really wanted to thank everybody for coming out tonight. I think, not to get too grandiose about everything, this is kind of how our country should work. I look at Washington, D.C., and I think people just aren't even talking to each other, and they aren't even sitting in the same room with each other, and so this is one very small step, but I like to think that hearing each other out, we're not even listening really, so this is an important part of that, building that culture. So tonight's event will feature candidates from three parts. We'll just kind of break it down into thirds. We'll have candidates for Allen Community College Board of Trustees, City Council, and then USD 257 School Board. We'll start with Allen Community College because Jenny's got to head out to a football game. Go Wildcats, so we want to get her. Are you guys already league champions? Yes. I know. That's a rhetorical question. You guys are always league champions in football. In the case of Allen Community College, you've got three candidates who are running for 3 seats. So barring some wildly successful write-in campaign, the incumbents will stay. But I think still, given the recent conversation with the college, multi-million-dollar list of repairs, questions about dorm rooms, kind of that recent decision to pump the brakes on the CT Center. It's really interesting and important that we hear from you guys, so thank you for being available. And then we'll move on to Iola City Council, where we have 2 candidates vying for a seat in Ward 3. It's the only contested election for Iola City Council. Myra Nick, the incumbent, will share why they're running. And then Doug is around here. Doug will make a brief announcement. I think he's mounting a write-in campaign, so we'll just give him a chance to give his spiel. And then lastly, there are 3 seats up for grabs on the USD 257 Board of Education. The school district touches all of us personally. It's a major employer. A lot of times if you have kids in the school system, they spend more time with their teachers than they do with you. So we've got 3 incumbents, John Wilson, John Masterson, and Robin Griffin-Loman. And we have 2 challengers, Nathan Cunningham and Lisa Wyckoff. Lisa Wyckoff, and I should have said earlier, Jessica Thompson, are both unavailable tonight. They're both engaged with work commitments. So I'll just kind of stay up here. I really encourage active participation from the audience. And just a couple general reminders. The election is November 4. That's Tuesday, November 4. Wards exist for Iola City Council. They don't for the college and the school board. So that's just a general reminder. Sometimes people forget that. Advanced voting, though, is already available. So if somebody really checks all your boxes tonight, you can vote for them tomorrow. If you want. Or if it was the other way, vote the other way. And then another big item on the ballot is, of course, the hospital sales tax. We've talked about that earlier in the forum on the 9th, so I won't go into much more detail, but you all probably are aware of that. So without further ado, I'm going to start with our chair of the Allen Community College Board, Becky Niles, so if you could come on up. Yes, you can. You want to use the mic?
Yeah.
It's wireless, so you can take it off, or you can just use this.
Okay, so just give a spiel.
Yeah, take a seat. Or not.
I'd
But I
rather
just
sit.
want to ask why you're running.
Oh, well, I'm running. Okay, so I'm Becky Niles. I am running for a seat on the Allen Community College Board of Trustees. I currently am serving on the board, but I was appointed. I haven't been elected. I filled a vacated seat. I started in mid-2023. This is a very interesting time for higher education. Lots of changes from the federal on down. Good things, new things, confusing things, and I think it's very important to stay informed. And also, state legislature, the funding from them is just kind of, you never know. We got an interesting gift last spring, but we weathered well because of past leadership, handled finances well. Why am I running? I think the college, one, I'm an alumni. It served me well. It set me in a good direction. Great folks, took the time to help me decide what I wanted to do and where I wanted to be. And I think we still have good folks out there that do the same thing. Also, I worked out there for a little over 17 years. And I just see the value in the college that I think sometimes those in the community don't. We not only provide, educational opportunities, we employ quite a few people, and we also have a big impact, economic impact on the community. And so I think it's important that we keep it healthy, we keep it open, and we keep it progressive, maintain vision, so that we stay competitive, because we do have to stay competitive with other community colleges, four-year schools, online, agencies and all of that. So that's basically why I'm running. I care about the school. I think it has played a very important part in the Allen community. We've been here for over 102 years. For those, give you a little bit of history. At that time, 102 plus years ago, the superintendent of the school district actually was the one who came up with the idea of wanting a junior college at the time. And I hope that we as a board and as a community college can maintain that vision, because had he not had the vision, we wouldn't have the jewel of this community that we do right now. So vote November 4th or before, and we hope you all get a little bit more chance to connect with us out there. We kind of are our own little community out there, so sometimes we do struggle with connecting with the community, but we are a part of the community. So thanks for your time, thanks for being here.
Anybody got any questions? You can just yell.
I don't know if you're around here when Alden Edmer was on the board of trustees. He was one of the ones that had the vision for the current facility. When others wanted to build small, he said build big, so that you have room for expansion in the future. Alden had a great deal of input into this area and helped influence a number of places, including John Deere. Little people know that Alden Edmer was responsible for working with John Deere implement to develop the four-wheel drive combine that is so prevalent in the world today. Alden was a visionary. What do you have, and what is your vision versus sight, which is common among many people?
Personally?
Yes, ma'am.
Personally, I would like us to focus on programs that are more digitally technology in the future, because I think that's the direction that people are looking for, meaning graphic design, cybersecurity, use of drones, which are used in all kinds of industries now, podcasts. People are interested in those as side gigs, along with what they're doing for their main income. So personally, that's the area that I think we should pursue.
If I could follow that up, you mentioned technology, computers. That was an area that I majored in here in Allen County. After my brother majored in chemistry, and Mr. Barkley at the time said, "You're not a bad student, you just don't cut from the same cloth as your brother," who went on to go to Oxford and develop the resources to study Gulf War syndrome with Ross Perot. What I've seen in technology is, if man thinks more like machines, such do machines think more like men. And as they forget how to think critically themselves, they can't think without crutches. I've seen it time and time again working with IBM and major companies across the world. They get dependent on things and they forget how to do basic things. How do you solve that?
Long question. How do we solve that? I think we
How do
say,
you help solve it?
I think any educational institution to move forward and to serve our society needs to keep open communications with not only educators, but those in industry, in the business world. They know what's coming down the pike probably before educational institutions do. You keep that communication open. You keep communications open with any type of your legislatures, because they're where a lot of your funding is going to come from. And I know you don't like that, but that's still a reality in our world today. But I think communication, being open, being flexible, and that's one of the advantages I think community colleges have over four-year institutions, is we have the ability to put things together quickly as programs, as certificates, and also that we have the flexibility because we're smaller. We can reach smaller pockets of those interested in particular programs.
Thank you. All right, thanks, Becky. All right. Jen, come on up.
All right, Jenny, you're on the
On the house.
So can I just say ditto? I'm Jenny Spillman. I'm also an alumni from Allen. Many of my family have gone there. I've been on the board since my son was just a baby, and he's 20 now. My husband went to Allen. Both of my kids have since graduated from Allen. So I want to run again because I don't think we're finished with what we're doing. When I initially got on the board, it was because I was teaching 5th and 6th graders and I wanted a good college for them to go on to. And those kids are now, well, I'm teaching some of their kids now. So I want a college that we can offer what the community needs, and we can encourage kids to stay here so the towns around don't die. And I think that's very important. We need to give them a firm foundation so that they want to come back and want to be here. So, other than that, that's my reason I'm wanting to be on the board again. I think the eastern side of the county needs to be represented, and I've been in education for, I hate to say it, but almost 40 years now. And so I know what's going on with K-12, and I can kind of help the college to know, here's what we're going through, here's the kids that we're getting, and we can kind of adjust to what we need to do. So.
Do you see a difference in the graduates of today versus a generation ago?
Yeah.
What are those? What do you see?
Now the kids, all their life, they've had technology. So they aren't like the kids that we used to have that had just, they hadn't grown up with it since they were babies. And so we have to meet that need. And you have to change your ways of teaching to address what they need.
Go Wildcats.
Yes. Yeah, and I'm sorry I have to leave, but being in a small school, you wear many hats, and tonight my group is in charge charge of the concession stand, so I've got to get back and start flinging popcorn and pop. So,
Have fun. Thank you.
thank you.
All right, we're gonna switch over to Iola City Council. So, Doug, I'm just gonna go in order of the wards. So, Ward 1, potentially, right? Sure, if you want.
Maybe we shouldn't here to talk about barbecue.
Yeah, I thought so too, but I'm all for barbecue.
Heard there's free food.
Yeah, why not? Okay, Doug, let's do it.
Okay, so I wasn't aware of this until about 30 minutes ago. So tell me a little bit about yourself and what you're planning on doing here with.
Okay, we moved here in 2012 to become the head football coach at the high school, turn the program around, and teach at the high school. We were here for 5 years, and then life and decisions kind of took us up north. We moved up to Baldwin City, and had a great opportunity up there to end up going to coach at Ottawa University as a football coach. My daughter was in swimming with the Seahorses here in town and had a passion for swimming, loved it, and wanted to do college. And so one of the reasons we went up there was to get her an opportunity to be at the collegiate level, and she had got an opportunity and swam for college, for community college, and then up at Rockhurst University. And when she graduated, I was at the college, and my two boys were like, we really don't like it here. We don't like the city, and we want to move to a smaller town. And I was like, well, where do you want to move? And they both were like, we want to move back to Iowa. And so to them, Iowa was home. We moved here from Florida, and this is kind of where they had their friends and had built relationships with the community, and we really enjoy the community of Iola. And so we decided to move back, and I got a job working for A&W Co-op, and I teach special education at the high school. And I figured out real quick I really wasn't good at special education, working in the classrooms. And so we tried to think outside the box, and I started a CTE program within the high school. And so now I teach special education. In the mornings I do a video production class where I teach the kids how to be safe online and learn how to make videos and some of the security issues that we go through with our kids. And then I teach in the woodworking program. We built a maker space over at the high school where they learn everything from laser engravers to CNC routers to epoxy boards to refinishing furniture. We make fishing baits. We just got a way to make custom fishing poles, so the kids get to choose something in the maker space that they get to do and learn a business.
Okay, so let me ask why you're running for city council and not school board.
Okay. So with that being said, one of the coolest things when we were in Baldwin, as the head coach in that community, you get to be on the rec commission. We had a Baldwin rec commission that helped the recreation director make decisions and deal with budgeting. And they have massive like concerts and barbecue festivals, and they have their 4th of July festival has like 20,000 people, and they have big country song, and they have the Maple Leaf that had like 400 booths. And so they really had a large commission job. And so I was on rec commission for 4 years, and it was really enjoyable. I enjoyed it from a side note. I didn't have to be the rec director, but we could help and guide them. And actually, my big thing with city council is we love the community. We love moving back here. We love living on the north side of town. It's quiet. We like our neighbors. And my big thing being on city council would be, I'm in the high school. I fight every day that comment that all of us have heard about your kids saying, there's nothing to do here. And I lived in South Florida with 300,000 people, and I heard the same thing from high school kids going, there's nothing to do here. And I really believe it has nothing to do with this community size. It's what you provide for your kids as a parent, and what we do as a community, provide them opportunities. And my big thing is if we don't get them in youth sports and youth activities, then they become just dedicated to being on video games and locked in their houses, and we don't see them. And they don't want to come outside and do activities. And then as an educator, we get them, and it's just like chasing their own tail to try to get them out of that vicious cycle. And so I feel like being part of the city commission would allow me to express my ideas that I've gotten through the years, concerns and support to come up with plans to make it to where families want to move here, because they can say, well, if I moved to Iola, what would keep me from moving to Humboldt or Chanute or Fort Scott? Well, it's because they have this, this, and this my kids can get involved in.
So when did you start kind of actively pursuing this idea of a writing campaign?
A few months ago, over the summer, I spoke to a few people, and the current councilman from our zone, and a couple people in the community, and I'm out in the community a lot because I do with the barbecue team, and so like Saturday we were at Farm City Days, and like 12 people came up and said, hey, are you gonna go do that? And I'm like, well, I've got to sell barbecue right now, but we'll look at that later. But I would enjoy it. I think I love being part of a team. I love being a problem solver. I love giving input, but also hearing from another side. I think working for the US 257 is a different angle than a lot of people, and I think we need to have a voice in the community. And finally, I think there's always communication about a ball field or a facility or something, and I really want to be part of the solution of sitting down with the school district and with the city and with the county and with Thrive and with Allen and getting a big think tank together and saying, hey, let's present an idea, like, let's go all in it together. And so as a taxpayer, you'd be like, oh, everybody there's on the same page. This might be a solid project. But I think sometimes when we go out on our own and we try to build things on our own, it just doesn't have the legs, and then it falls apart, and then you hear people in the community go, well, they tried that and it doesn't work, and this and that. I think together we can come up with a good plan and build something with pride that the whole community would be like, well, everybody's on board. It's not, I'd love to go to a city council meeting, but it's the same night as a board meeting, so I got to pick one or the other. How can we get everybody on the same page? Yeah. And just say, this isn't a political thing, this is, everybody throws their hat in, and now everybody's got a little skin in the game. It's going to be a little easier to squeeze things. And other communities do it. Other communities support each other to support their youth, and they support their community events. If I was also on city council, I might have a shot at winning the medallion thing. I mean, like the inside deal, because I was looking, and I was totally lost. But that's kind of what I want to run for.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
You bet.
Okay, so
I have a question. So what ward would you represent?
Ward 1.
And
Ward
who is there now?
Josiah.
Josiah, he's not rerunning.
Oh, okay.
So there's nobody there
Oh,
on the
no.
ballot. You didn't file in time.
I didn't know there was a deadline. I'm not a big politician person. I'm just, I'm in the middle of it, and they're like, hey, this is what you got to do, and I wasn't aware of that. So, but I thought it'd be kind of cool, and feel like I could offer some advice.
All right. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Okay, and let's go now to Ward 3, because I don't have anybody from. Did you have a question?
Yes.
Sorry.
Regarding the junior college candidate, Allen County is currently ranked number 13 out of 19 in the state of Kansas, the best colleges to attend. How did we get there when we used to be so good? And secondly, how are we going to change that? And thirdly, do you know where the others come from? Including the niche, NICHE.com. They list them out.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Ma, are you ready for Ward 3?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
We will keep moving.
Okay, we do spiels first.
Go for it.
Perfect. So I'm Myra Gleason. 3 years ago, I think many in this room know, but if you don't, my husband and I moved here from the West Coast, and we've opened up Wild Bloom Coffee, and we have loved every single moment of being able to be a part of this community. I think as you own a business, there are things that you see, emails that you get, other areas and avenues in which you're looking, and you're kind of like, okay, I've seen how bigger cities work. This is how a smaller city works. How do we bring some of those different mindsets, not in a progressive or a liberal way, but how do you bring some of those mindsets here that are going to work for economic development and how budgets work and things like that. Now, I am very open to saying that I have not been behind the scenes, right? So I've not ever sat on a city council. I don't have all the knowledge of what goes in the inner workings behind the scenes. But what I do have is that I'm very, very passionate about this town because I do have a business. And if we have a population that is in decline, what does that mean for businesses moving forward? What about our businesses that are here? What is the sustainability effect and what's the longevity of that? So as I'm running for city council, there's a lot of things that I have big ideas and a big vision, but mostly what I don't see from the council currently is that we have a plan. I don't see a 1-year plan, I don't see a 3-year plan, I don't see a 5-year plan. I've been able to talk to some people in Lenexa. I talked to the former city attorney up there about what they did with economic development and how they turned Lenexa into the place that it is. I know we're not Lenexa, but you guys, Iola can be really, really awesome, other than what it has, the great things going on with it now. And some of those things is that the economic development on what they did with Iola is they had to make hard decisions when it came to what they want to see for their city in 1 year, 2 year, 5 year. As somebody who is from the outside, I have gone through the budgets here. I have gone through meeting minutes from the last 2 years. We have been a very risk-adverse city council. Most people have been voting against progress here. We have not been voting for progress here. And this isn't just this current city council, this is decades long. So this is not any one person that is to blame. This is a decades-long issue that we've had. The budget that came out in 2019, we were at a $1.8 million deficit. Then we did a study in 2020 with Wichita State University. I don't know how much that cost, but it showed that there were budgets in the city that were recommended that could go up. So in retrospect of that, we took a city code enforcer job from $59,000 to, in 2025, they are making $89,000. In 2021, we dropped the city administrator's job from $106,000 to $90,000, and as of 2025, that city administrator makes, I believe, about $155,000 a year. We have our assistant administrator that makes $117,000 a year. We have a city clerk that makes $99,000 a year. We have HR, we have assistants under assistants under assistants, and what I'm saying is this: does the budget reflect? Does payroll reflect what we need to happen in this city, right? Councilwoman Peterson brought up at the pool at one of the budget meetings that the pool needed to be replaced with paint. And when I forget what his name, Jason Bauer, when he had said that that was going to cost $60,000, what Councilwoman Peterson did is she said, carry on. No, how do we problem solve this with our budget? How do we bring something, how do we bring ideas and solving this? And everybody was silent. So we need a $60,000, and this is just on the minor things of like, why are we paying so much in payroll when we have gone from 221 and $90,000 to now we're paying $155,000, all because of a Wichita State survey that recommended. And these are answers that I don't have all of those answers, but I'm asking the questions. My idea is vision, my idea is economic development, but we also have to ask those hard questions of where is all of this money going that our taxes are going to? Why aren't we seeing the things that we actively want to see in this town? And so these are the questions that we have to ask, and this is the vision that I want. My first year is to look over the budget. By third year, hopefully we have some new businesses that are coming down. Property taxes is a huge thing that's going on here, and if we have more small businesses, if we have more people that are moving here, and we can keep the property line steady, where we're not adding to, and hopefully the state can take away some mill levies, and hopefully, man, if we can get our budget under control here, we can actually bring down the levy. These are decisions that your city council people make for you guys locally, and we do have to ask ourselves, have they made the right decisions for this town and for our future?
let me ask, that brings, so one of the questions that I hear there is there's that idea of kind of like reducing expenses. But then, like for example, I drive home, I live in Meadowbrook, and I saw the new, they poured the concrete pad for the splash pad. And so I thought, awesome, that's like 2 minutes away from me for summer, next summer. And I think, hey, that's another amenity, that's a quality of life issue. And so I kind of was, there's that cutting side that you're mentioning, but talk to us a little bit about the growth side. What are some things you think, okay?
Yeah, so on that side, so I'm a fan of the splash park. I think Donna Hauser did a great job of raising, $54,000 in order for us to be able to use some of the 96 fund, which is our capital improvements fund. And so I believe currently, as it sits now, I think we have like 1.6 million, 1.5, but we also have 54 coming up. So part of the vision that comes with growing here is through those economic development initiatives. Some of those could be, we already have a neighborhood revitalization act that's in place, but we could also do well with tax credits. Part of growth is bringing down other small businesses and showing them what Iola, like Iola's a wonderful place to live. So when you think about it, what is the image that we want Iola, Kansas to have? When we think of Iola, when we think of Kansas, what is that image? Not what we're doing wrong, but what are the things that we're doing great? We have this incredible opportunity with the state park coming, and you and I were talking about, you couldn't find wood. Well, here's a great opportunity for a farmer now. Here's a farmer cutting down their wood. Now we have a place that there's money coming in from tourism, right? That is one small, and some of you are just like, well, that's a dumb idea. But that is one small area in which a farmer or a small-minded, I'll call them a little hustler, can actually put themselves out there, make some money off of some firewood, right? These are small ideas. The bigger ideas is that economic development is through, you could tax it, and that's a conversation for another day, and that's not one that we need to talk about or even introduce yet, which would be 1/4 cent to raise the sales tax to 9%, and that is a fund that goes directly to economic development. So if there is somebody who has a great idea, we can say, we love your business idea. How do we get you down here? How do we get more families moving down here? So these are a lot of things of like, when I'm a business owner. So I look at things all in budgets, all in dollars, all in how do we do this, but also how do we take care of the people that are here as well? How do we steward tradition while also being able to to think about the future, right? So a lot of this comes down to that I want to see Iola grow, and there's a lot of initiatives that we need to put in place for economic development, and mostly that comes just from how do you raise money? How do you get the money? And also, how do you get people to come down here? And I think the Lehigh Trails, for one, is opening up the doors for people to see what Iola is all about, for new eyes, to be honest, too.
Thank you. Anybody got any questions from the audience?
Yeah.
In the back, yell it out.
How are you feeling about the number of council members? Do you like it the size? Do you think it's smaller?
That's a great question. I feel like I'm in between, only because I haven't been here long enough, and that's not a quality answer, so I want to give you a quality answer. So like I said, I'm very open that I don't know everything. I think if we all knew everything, we would all probably have to have higher paying jobs, but I think it's a good thing. I think having, our town is so small, and I don't like the wards. I don't like that somebody who is like, oh, I wish I lived in your ward and I could vote for you, right? So right now you have to live in that ward, you have to know those people, you have to go door to door or anything like that in order for them to be able to know about you. When we only have 5 seats, that means that we're opening up the entire town to be able to vote for the best person that they think can move this city forward. So I'm for it. I'm not against it. I do think that we don't have enough people running, and I think it's because I like what John Will said. He said that people don't want to run against their neighbor. And I know back last November, I go, Nick, I'm running against you. And I consider Robin and I consider Nick both friends, and I love them, you know, and like people have said, if you and Nick could be on there together, you know, that would be great. And I know people are having a hard time having to vote for Nick or voting for me. But that comes down to that if we did have that open and we had 10 people for 5 spots, then people could vote for Nick and for me.
Okay, last question, and then I'm gonna move on.
Just real brief. As a business owner facing the square, this past November, December timeframe, the city tore up the alleyway between my building and the postal building, and neither the city administrator nor his assistant knew who was responsible for fixing it. How do you solve that?
Well, when they were doing the chip and seal last year, and the city didn't even send out letters to say, hey, during this date and this date, we're going to be on your side doing the chip and seal. They did it through a Facebook post, and that was 2 weeks before they were doing it, and they never posted about it again. And I had an issue with that because we need to be telling people here, even neighbors, if there is going to be anything that is like, especially in business, if we are going to have individuals where it's going to be harder for them to make dollars, right? For people to come in and do business with them, you guys, coffee business is 10 to 15% profit margin. So if we don't have people walking through there, that means hours go down for my employees, product distribution goes down for our community and things like that. So it's very important that we are notified in advance. Arlen, I can't speak to your situation. There should have been more communication for you, and people should have answers for you. How do we get them to have answers for you? I don't know the inside track yet. I can only hope that what I would have done is at least let you know and maybe communicated that ahead of time, or found an answer for you, or just been honest that, well, maybe they're just saying, I don't know because we don't know, but there should be an answer for that. So I don't think I can answer that to the best of my ability that might benefit what, you know, maybe the answer that you want to hear in the situation, but I can say that I do think the city can have better communication.
We finally got an answer 8 months later, and they wrote a letter that said, we tore it up, we will fix it, but that doesn't mean that we're responsible.
Okay.
Okay.
That's the problem.
Thank you, Myra.
All right.
Thank
All right.
you.
Nick, come on up.
I didn't know how to put back in, so I was on the shirt for you.
That's your fault. That looks like a comfortable, pick the best seat in the house. All right, do you want to do a little introduction to who you are?
And I feel like I gave up all my best material doing the interview for the registered podcast, and now I have nothing to say. So my name is Nick Lowe. I'm currently representative for Ward 3. I've served almost 1 term, and I'm running for re-election for a 2nd term. I grew up in a family where, you know, my dad was on the school board for like 18 years, and it was just participating in the community and giving back to the community was just something that you did. And so I had the time and the inclination, so I thought I'd run for city council and give back to the community. I didn't have any particular axe to grind, like I wasn't there, you know, I didn't run just to bring chickens to Iola.
I don't believe you.
And it's been, I've learned a lot. It's been very educational. You know, I think I said this, but you know, I in general believe in term limits. And but golly, like it takes a year or 2 years just to know what's going on, understand like here's all the pieces and how they work before you really get a sense of like, okay, I know how I'm going to approach this now because you've seen it work. You know, in past years, and like just knowing the budget, like remembering from 2 or 3 years ago what a conversation we had about, you know, the budget for the like coming up week. We're going to have to buy at some point a new fire truck, right? The ladder truck's getting older, and it's okay. Yeah, we need to be putting money into that fund because they're crazy expensive, and you know you don't want to get hit with that cost all at once. And just a lot of the budgeting process, especially, is where there's so many pots and pieces, and knowing like, you know, what needs to go where, what went where before, so now what needs to go here to make sure you have a smooth process. You're not continually robbing other budgets for each crisis that's happening. And I, you know, it's come. I think it was decent when I started, and it's gotten a lot better.
The only question I have, because I just, what do you enjoy most about serving on the council now?
Well, I was really hoping that it would be the bribes and the kickbacks. I was I was under the impression that public service was a way to enrich yourself, and it just totally turned out to not be the case. And school board is, man, they get like all of this swag, free dinners, like.
I want one of those licenses.
Yeah, it's really, it is worth it to run a school board. It really is.
The mayor over here is nodding and agreeing.
I'm giving him advice on what to bring you to the next city council
Oh,
meeting.
so it's definitely not a financial reward by any means. Well, for me, it's participating in the community and being a part of the process and trying to steer, the giant barge that is our city government in the direction that I and my constituents, is at least like what I hope they think or what they tell me, where it should go. I do enjoy like when there are wins. Like for example, finally got the sidewalk improved for a little section after like 2.5 years, and it seems like a small thing, but like okay, there was a win there.
And that took some resistance. I was covering that meeting. City administration was not giving you guys the green light. That was, it took a little bit of pushback from you guys.
And rightly so. That's their job to do that, right? So, and something else I believe strongly, I really don't like I don't like hearing city council. I never want to do something because I'll set a precedent, right? Because if you set a precedent, you don't have to do that in the future.
That whole idea of a slippery slope, right?
Yes, we can't make any progress, we can't make any change because they'll do that. Well, if our policies and procedures are working so well that we need to have no input from other people, then what are we doing here? And if you're not ready to accept the changes or explore those changes that need to be made, you really should rethink you being on a governing body, right? Because that's the council's purpose, is to make those decisions, and our city administrators do exactly what they're supposed to do, right? They're there to follow policy that we as city council set, and so it's us to set policy, and then they'll follow, and they do a good job of that. And also, our city administrators are good at preventing us from hanging ourselves by pointing out, like, okay, there's other things you have to consider to think about. While the ideas that I think are brilliant or are great ideas, they bring a different perspective to this reality often to that as well.
Sounds good. Until you say it out loud and think about it. Anybody got any questions for Nick?
Anyone? No. I really want to pretend like we have this huge beef.
No, we don't, because we like each other. I think that's rare. Okay, so my question is this. I brought up a lot of the budget stuff that has irked me, and we have tripled the budget for the city. Why? Why is there such a high budget that goes up from a $23,000 pay raise every single year? Why code's going up? The city administrator's going up? City clerk, HR? How have we gone from 2019 we were paying code enforcement $59,000, right? I know that there's cost of living, but does that really indicate $40,000 from the budget, and yet we're still at a deficit and we still have all these issues?
Well, without having researched any of those numbers, I don't have every single budget for everyone's payroll memorized for the last umpteen years. COLA is a big part of it, like the inflation that we have.
Cost of living adjustment.
Yeah, cost of living adjustment, a COLA adjustment. It's probably been over the last 4 years, if I had to total it up, I'm going to guess 15, 16% at least. I think 1 year was almost 9%. There have been big changes to COLA. And that is keeps on inching a lot of that forward. As far as the rest, I don't know the answer to that. I'd have to look at the numbers and see. I don't recall giving anyone a 40% raise.
I mean, the
I don't-
budgets are there, you know, for people to look at, which is what I do, going through the meeting minutes and all of that. And so these are the things that have just really peaked and being like, so for instance, like at the city council at the budget meeting, I was told by John Wells that I was out of order for asking questions on why people meet behind doors with Corey, the assistant city administrator. And nobody had an answer for that. They said that, you know, this is just how it's done. But then none of those questions, right? Nobody said anything. When none of the department heads got up there, nobody asked any questions on why do we, like, for instance, the water guys need a new Aquatech, and that's $100,000. But does Iola have the infrastructure to even bring up, to even, like, approve $100,000? I'm not saying that you guys did, but these questions weren't even asked that we saw in front of us. They might have been asked behind doors, but that's the thing that we don't feel as a citizen, right, as a constituent, we don't feel that there's a lot of transparency when it comes to how these decisions are made, because being there, nobody asked any questions from any of these department heads.
Is there a question?
Yeah,
I mean,
why weren't there any questions that were asked during this time? Because I was told that you guys would get those all answered.
So a lot of those, people did ask questions. I think that the statement that no questions were asked is false. Like, when the head of our water department, for example, says, like, I need this piece of equipment, like, I trust it. Like, I'm not a water technician, engineer. I don't know these things.
So
Like, I'm a drug dealer, right? And so I don't have any knowledge base to second guess what they say. And, you know, for someone who's worked for the city, I mean, at least 20 years, I think, you know, they know their job, they know what they're doing. And so when they say, like, I need this piece of equipment to make these upgrades, like, I believe them.
But shouldn't you have an engineer that should come in and see if we can have those upgrades before spending $100,000? Shouldn't there be an assessment?
Probably not. I mean, he's a professional in his field saying, I need, you know, this needs to happen. And so, like, we can spend extra money to have a second opinion on all of these decisions, but then again, that's going to take forever and also be very expensive. You know, at some point, you just have to have faith that, you know, this person who does their job knows how to do their job.
And I think that's a fair answer. I just didn't see any of those questions being asked about that. Like, if we just so blindly trusting, but as constituents, we don't know that there's blind trust. So, sorry, Tim.
No, it's okay. Can it be quick?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
As city council, you have been in charge and are going to be in charge probably of the direction of this city. Recently, with the announcement by Gates of laying off a number of people, I believe 80 some, working with Iola Industries, of which I'm a part of, but they're a very secretive organization, how do you propose to make it a more open, trusted organization, and how do you get youth, college graduates, to return here? My daughter went to New York School in downtown Empire State Building, and her first comment when I asked her to come back to Kansas, get the hell out of Dodge.
Okay.
Unquote.
I think I got it. So,
Well, there's like three
I'll
questions
give you a
there.
minute.
So as to the nature of Iola Industries, I'm not a part of Iola Industries, and I can't speak to how they conduct business. I just don't know. As far as how to make Iola an open and welcoming place, community-wise it is. I mean, I think that the people who have moved here have found it like a great place to live, even if they hadn't grown up here. And the other piece of that of how to make it welcoming is how to make it welcoming to businesses, to attract businesses here. And again, that always seems to be like a chicken and egg thing. I think we talked about that before, but like, you know, we have to make as many headroads into the things that we believe will attract people here, whether that's housing, because, you know, we lack housing, and so, you know, large businesses are hesitant to move here because they want to be able to attract a lot of workers, and if there's not enough housing for workers, they're not going to move here. And then, you know, how do we build housing when we don't have the workers to fill those houses? And so how do you and so it tends to be you just keep on trying to set up all the dominoes and moving forward on all of these pieces. as best we can.
Ma'am, did you have a question in the back there?
Yeah, I'm gonna throw this out there. Just 'cause
This is the last one for Nick.
How has the council changed? You've been there, what, 1, 2 years? Has, really?
3.5.
Because from the appearance from the community, it's changed tremendously.
Really?
It's like you said, it took 2.5 years for a sidewalk project. It seems like nothing gets,
Well, that's one of the advantages and disadvantages of having a large council, right? So if there were 3 people, then change is quick and fast because it's whatever they want to do, they just push it through, and there's not a lot of dissenting voices and opinions to counter that.
well,
Having a larger body,
not so, not enough.
but I think having a larger body, you're more likely to have more opinions, and so you have more discussion has to take place and more.
Because I've been watching these meetings for years, and what I'm seeing, when I sit and I watch it, it's like somebody has thrown 8 people in a room that really doesn't like each other, and you can't get along. And that's, I mean, I'm watching it from YouTube, and that's the appearance that we're all getting. Nothing's getting solved. You know, there's the food trucks taken care of.
Yeah, that's already passed.
See?
I believe, yeah.
Okay.
But it takes forever, and then you hear them say, well, you know, we're gonna say you can only bring it back to 3 times. We're, you know, to me, I'm hearing, we're tired of hearing about what people want. You know, so we're gonna say, we're only gonna listen twice, 3 times, 4 times.
Nick, I have a question, like, what's,
I thought I said it was the last one. No, I'm sorry.
oh, sorry.
Should we allow it?
Not allowing that.
As long as it's a nice softball
No, go
question.
for it, go for it.
Like, if money weren't an issue, what would be your dreams for Iowa? I mean, like a solar power, or, I mean, things like, what?
The
what
rec center
cities
stuff.
That would take
Our,
us.
you know, like my vision for this, for the town is like, I'd love to see all of the you spend money on what you need, and then you can have what you want, right? And we are very, we've been primarily focused on our needs, and I think we're doing a good job of that. And so then once we kind of get some of those taken care of, although this Highway 54 expense I don't want to do, but, and then I would love to have the money for the rec department, that quality of life improvement type stuff, and
Are you
like the
saying
rec department-
POOL? Is that what you are saying? Because everybody talks about a pool. I mean, is that what
I
you mean, or
can't
what-
can't spell well, so. I mean, that would be. I mean, having a pool would be great. It's also very expensive, and it's a maintenance burden. And you know, if we vote for it, like maybe we can get a bill, but then someone else is going to have to maintain it for years, and they're going to have that expense. And like, do we necessarily want to burden them with that? When you know, and so there's a lot that goes into making that decision. If money wasn't an option, you know, like for Newton,
Yeah.
where you know they have the money for that, then it would be easier to make that.
Okay. Thank you, Nick. Thank you. Okay, we're gonna pivot then to school board. Last decision of the night, and we are going to start with age before beauty. So I'm gonna ask John Masterson to come on up here, if that's okay.
He's a beautiful man.
He is beautiful. I know.
We'll see what the lab test shows.
And then I will go with John, and then Robin, and then Nate. We're gonna go in. There's the mic over there. Sorry. Wait. You're really stuck.
So there's an advantage then of being old.
Yes.
The forward tees of the golf course is the only thing that I've found to this point that really is an advantage of being old. I am finishing my first full term as a school board member. I stepped in and took a open post from an individual that resigned and finished her term, and then have used this. And my motive for running or anything else, I guess, with that is that I believe that we all need to use our talents to support our communities in ways that we can. And because of my experience in education, I was in education, higher ed really, but my degrees were in physical education to teach K through 12, and then guidance and counseling to be a counselor. And I ended up using the counseling piece to be a counselor at the community college and came back to my hometown. I was born and raised in Iowa, went completely through the schools here, and then left to get my college degree, and then for my active duty in the Navy, and then came back to Emporia where I graduated and took a graduate citizenship, and then stayed on at Emporia State for, I guess, my first real job kind of thing, and then had the opportunity to come back to Iola, which I'd always loved, and thought that I could talk my city girl wife, who had grown up in Little Rock, Arkansas, and Kansas City, and coming to Iola, and I said, hey, guess where's an opening for a guidance counselor? She said, where? And I said, Iola. And I said, we wouldn't want to move there. And she said, why not? We've got friends there. We love Iola. And I said, well, okay, I'll look into it then. So I did, and spent my career here with the college. And that experience, education is education. We all have a responsibility to take them when they're here and try to get them as far as they can go. Georgia and I had a special needs daughter that we were looking for some place to make her as good as she could be. And that's all I ever told doctors or anybody else. I just want her to be as good as she can be. And that's what my hopes would be for every student, no matter whether they're brilliant, and then they can be great, or whether they're special needs and can get where they can live on their own. I found it tremendously interesting and tremendously different as well, that the K-12 as opposed to what I knew in higher education. And I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed my relationship with the other board members and with the faculty and staff in the Unified School District, and just want to be an advocate for education and use whatever skills I might have to help make things happen.
Thank you. Anybody got any questions for John?
Yes, sir.
At what point in your educational career, and you served several, did it become something as a job and turn from that into a passion that you saw a real need for?
You know, really, Arlen, I think early on, I feel so strongly about education and what it can do, how it can change people's lives, how it changed my life. I grew up in a very, very working class family. We didn't have a great deal of money. I didn't even realize that until I was taking a sociology class one time, and I went, whoa, upper, lower, middle class, or whatever it was. You know, I thought, I didn't realize that. But the passion for learning and for working with students and seeing, they always talk about, but I understand what they're talking about. The lights coming on for a student to really understand a concept that you're trying to share. You know, we were talking earlier, I heard the talking about critical thinking and how important that is, and especially, holy smokes, today. That worries me that we live on sound bites and elevator speeches and all this crapola that we continually hear, and to tell a student, research. look for your answers. Don't just take an answer. Look for your answers. But that's all a part of that learning thing. And I think I think there's no doubt in my mind the reason I worked and stayed in education until I was 78 years old is because I loved it. I loved every day. I made my decision about whether or not to retire by thinking, okay, you retire and you wake up Monday morning and you go do what that you're going to look forward to more than you do going to that college and seeing those people and seeing those students and interacting with those students and getting the energy from those students. And I think, I can't think of anything. So I'd work another 4 or 5 years. But that's, I feel like I had a passion for it. It didn't burn out. I burned out. That was one of the things with age, and there comes a time, you know.
You know, to follow up, what I tell my 3 children are, I go to work every day. All I do is work is play. So if all I ever do at work is play, do I ever really work? And secondly, always be mentoring someone, but also be mentored yourself, because one or the other dies, you die intellectually.
That's interesting about mentorship. Levere, of course, is right here, current college president. And with that, I'm going to leave it, and I'm going to move over to John Wilson. If that's okay.
Fine with me.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
John, are you okay to come up here? Okay. Because if not, we can go to you.
I left the microphone on the chair.
Okay.
Thank you, thank you. Can you get these steps? If not, we can sit down there.
I don't know if I need this or not. I think, can you hear me without using this?
No.
No. My name is John Wilson, and I'm running for re-election to the school board, 257 school board. Just want me to tell a little bit about my life.
You were a teacher for a long time. You want to talk a little bit about that, or what you've enjoyed about your first term so far? You came on when? 2020, same year as Robin, right? This is your first term? Okay.
My wife and I have 5 kids. We have 16 grandkids, and they all live around Iola, so there's not a weekend that goes by that we don't see somebody. I was born and raised in Iola. Went to Iola High School, graduated from Iola High School, and attended, at the time it was Allen County Community College. It's like Allen College now. I went to school at Emporia State to get my bachelor's, and then I came back to Iola, and I've taught in Iola for 37 years.
What's motivating you to run for school board again, for re-election?
Well, it's the same thing that made me run in the first place. In 2014, I contracted cancer, and I was out teaching for a couple of years. And after I got over that, I thought, you know, I can't go back and teach. There's no way I can handle a school day with coming back from cancer. And I thought, what could I do, you know, with my years of experience? Because that's one thing I did. I miss the kids. I miss the interaction. There's something special about the interaction between you and the kids. And so I decided to run for the school board.
Anybody got any questions for John? In the very back, Sebastian? Are you asking a question or do you need to? Yeah, what's up?
What are you working on?
What am I working on?
Yeah, like
That's a good question. What are you guys working on in school?
Well,
He should know. You're in third grade. That's a
We
good
talked about it on the way here. He actually does want to ask that.
there's a couple things going on right now that's kind of in the developmental stage. One is the house that's behind the library. There might be a possibility that the school district purchase that. And this is something that hasn't been discussed yet. But
Oops. I'm just joking.
and then we're in discussions with the college and trying to work something out with ball fields where the college would put lights on the softball field at the college, and then the school district would possibly put turf on the football field down at the park, and then the college could play soccer there in the park. It could open up a lot of things.
Sebastian, what do you
Football
need?
to play.
No, what do you need in school? Do you have
Really,
everything
this
in
is like chess.
chess?
He loves chess and Pokemon. He loves doing things with robotics. So he's asked a lot about those kind of programs and clubs that he's been engaged with in the past. Is how can he get the opportunity to start experimenting? You know, he's big into Legos, so kind of finding outlets like that for him in a sense of community. We're not always excited about sports. That's not always what we want to do. And so finding an opportunity to get in that way.
We are aware of the fact that we do have esports now.
I did. I heard a little bit about it. I heard about that at a Makerspace Summit, and I was kind of curious.
School board, and I guess a little bit of background is I also got my bachelor's from Hawaii State University, and then I actually surveyed power lines and traveled around the United States, which was quite an experience. And then I settled back down in 2015 in Ottawa, and I actually grew up in Canada, Kansas, which is about an hour north and then another 10 miles west. And then I came to Iola in 2000, I think I started visiting Iola in 2018. I don't think I moved here until 2019 or so. And it's been a very welcoming community, as a few of the other candidates mentioned. In fact, I've never really felt more part of the community than I have here. I mean, it's been
Yeah,
really,
Nick said that, yeah.
yeah.
What do you enjoy about school board? What do you like about it?
Well, the reason why I initially ran and why I'm rerunning is because I actually lived and homeschooled my oldest, and when we transitioned here to public schools, it was, you know, we had extra support from the school, and they just really supported our family. And I really wanted to give back to the school and the school district and the teachers and all those people that were involved in that support, and in order to support them in return.
To Camille's question there about not sports projects, I remember that was a part of your campaign. I remember you talking 4 years ago about that issue. So have you felt happy with the progress? Is there more that you feel like you want to do there? Or?
Well, there's always more you want to do, right? I would say, yeah, Doug, when he was speaking earlier, yeah, the barbecue team, and then esports that was mentioned earlier, and just all these, I know esports is still kind of sporty, but right, it's, you know, physical game, things like that. I've just been really impressed by the school in offering alternative activities. I do have a little bit of history in grant writing and recovery and things like that. And part of what I learned there was that, you know, school is one of the strongest protective factors in a community for prevention. And so really having these alternative activities for students, kids, other community members to be engaged with the community protects them. It protects them from all these, you know, long-term health outcomes that we look out for. And I just really believe they do an incredible job of that. They do the, you know, strategic planning that goes on, but there's always pivoting. I know recently we had a transportation issue and childcare providers and things like that, and, you know, we adapted. And, you know, is it within the purview of the school to really provide transportation to that? I think you could argue no, but because of how important school is and, you know, allowing a parent to work and the dynamics of different families throughout our community. You know, being able to offer that, I think, and I'm happy that we were able to provide that and have a solution to that.
I'll ask to that question about money. Let's pretend money is no issue. There's no problem. And, you know, the Gates and Melinda, or I guess it's just the Melinda Gates Fund. Let's just say you get a huge multi-million-dollar check and now the school district can do anything. What would you start tackling? What would you start saying, you know what, I want to do X, Y, and Z?
I should have been thinking about that
No,
seriously earlier, and I wasn't.
You can tell I didn't let anybody know the questions I was looking at.
Yeah. I mean, you know, really, I just, you know, I like the liberal arts programming and all those kinds of those programs. You know what? I would also pump some money in A&W interlocal. I'm on their board as well. I represent your
special education co-op.
Yeah, and I also work for. I didn't tell this in my history. Sorry, I'm jumping around a little bit. I also work with the state. I administer the IDD program at the state level, which is like Tri-Valley, what they do. So my career path also aligns with A&W co-op. So I would pump a lot of money in there. I would have to listen to the administrators and the director there on what they need. They need a lot, that's for sure. I would also, which we're doing a better job at collaborating with the city and the college and all the other community members and stakeholders in Iola and in the county, I think, and working together for programs. I know John briefly mentioned some of the work we're looking at with the college and with the city.
Anybody got any questions?
As someone who's worked with special needs children in the past, in Kansas City, here, and other places, how do you inspire men, especially, to help provide father role for many children who lack a father in the home? Big brothers, big sisters, individuals. Please explain.
I'll give you a minute, because then I want to get to Nathan. I'm looking at the time. He's been waiting all night, I can see.
They do a lot of this in the state case, I will say. Like, I'm just taking advantage of a lot of the supports, holistic supports in the school district. I mean, they have in-house counseling and in-house medical center. They basically feed them dinner before they go home. They keep them till 5:20, 4 days out of the week. I mean, I would say as a single parent in a single parent household, they do a phenomenal job of truly supporting those kind of households.
I'll give you an example of what I personally tried to do here in Allen County. I tried to buy you a hospital so that we could create a training center for tutoring, which my daughter does from Italy, Saudi Arabia, Morocco. We have the capability of doing things through technology. Let's utilize it.
Okay. I want to give you a round of applause, and then I really want to give a round of applause for Nathan, who has been waiting here. I said age before beauty, so we've got the most beautiful one coming up on the stage. I'm sorry you've been waiting here. All right.
You're more than good.
And you are the challenger. We heard from 3
Yes.
incumbents. There's one more challenger, Lisa Wyckoff. She's not here. But tell us what motive. I give you a lot of credit because I'm not even going to ask how old you are. I know you're younger than I am.
I'm 25.
I didn't run for any single office in my life, so I couldn't even imagine doing it at 25. All these guys are old people, you know. You're young, so yeah.
I heard that. How
What's
embarrassing
motivating-
for you.
What is motivating somebody like you? What do you know, why are you running? What brings you to toss your hat into the ring here?
So, like many other people here, I was born and raised right here in Iola, Kansas. And I didn't originally find that I wanted to stay here. I went to Emporia State like many of the other members. And when I came back, I know I was working a job. was void of purpose, void of meaning, and I was able to find where I am now, part of a community. And I realize what community is all about. I realize that when I wake up every day, it's not just a job, but every day I'm able to have conversations with people who are doing their daily part. Like Coach Kerr, I don't know if he's still here. He was my high school.
After he gave his stump speech, I saw.
He was my high school coach, and then John Wilson, you were my 7th grade science teacher. And
was he a good student?
I'm sure I gave you trouble. I remember just dissecting a frog in your class. So I just thought to myself, I'm like, how can I give back to the community? And you have to remember, like, every single person that's running, they're more than well qualified. Like John Masterson, you were the president of ACC for a while. Robin, you've been running for, you've been contributing. It's been a huge blessing. And John Wilson, being a teacher and being on school board, like, all you guys have contributed.
But don't, you're selling yourself short here.
Right.
So as a young, what do you, there's something interesting about not just your age, you're an alumnus. Why does a school board need a voice like yours?
Because in the day and age in which we live in, we face modern day problems. Technology is a real issue. Reading illiteracy is a real issue. Social interactions are a real issue. Sitting in a college classroom where a teacher asks a question and the students think that they're not even there, so they don't answer. It's difficult to see society headed in a direction that I'm scared to see the future of.
I hear you saying that you understand what young people are dealing with.
A little bit.
In a way that brings that voice and perspective to the board. Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
Kind of idea?
Yes, I would. We still face problems that every community faces. I remember one of my friends saying that the only meal and the only shower that he got were at school. Many of the students here get free and reduced lunches, and so it's hard to watch a community struggle. It's hard to watch students have to try and learn when they can't even really think of wanting to learn right now, or they have other things on their mind. They're distracted by technology. I remember a substitute teacher talking about how she had issues with a student who thought he was in a video game in the classroom. So there's these issues, and one of the teachers that I have talked to, he said he's been teaching for 20 years, but this is the year that it's actually started to get hard for him. So,
And that's a veteran.
Yeah.
Questions for Nathan? In the back.
So let's say you do get this position. If you could only be known for one thing, what would your one legacy be that you made a positive change in the area you're currently pursuing?
Knowing that the students that graduate from the years to come would be smarter, wiser, and wealthier than I. ever could be. Because education is prosperity. Having information and knowing how to use it's success in and of itself. Being able to create a generation that not only knows how to take care of themselves, but how to take care of the community around them and serve the world, because we are no longer in communities, we are in what's called a global village, in which what we do affects the entire world. So,
let me give you a chance to do a follow-up and then stand, and then I'm going to call it quits because I heard the bell ringing. So go ahead.
So given what you said, if you had full control, what is one policy that you would change immediately to support the community?
reading. So, Stan and I have talked about this, and we need to talk a little bit more about it. But some of the greatest wealth and knowledge can be found in books. And it is one of the most underutilized.
You know, we've never read less as a country than we have today, right?
Yes.
Like in the history of this research, Americans are reading fewer books than ever since they've done that study and research, right?
Right.
Is that where you're going?
A little bit. You know, it's easy with Google Gemini or ChatGPT to say, hey, give me an answer. But, you know, what did our forefathers do before us?
Stan, last question of the night.
Okay, everybody kind of knows what I'm going to ask.
Okay.
I don't actually.
Everybody knows that my view of reading is the most important thing that we have. Reading for comprehension. And we eliminated the accelerated reader program at the library, which was all about comprehension. I teach physics at the college. I can tell you that we don't have dumb kids. We have smart kids that can't read. And so would you work to investigate the value of this accelerated reading, which anecdotally is very good. We have seen a decrease in the kids' comprehension over the past 2 years. As you know, I read out here with kids at 7:30 in the morning. And we've seen a decrease. Would you work to reinstall the accelerated reader program in the library at the community college? I mean,
At elementary school.
At the elementary school.
I'm glad you brought that up, and absolutely, Stan. So, as someone who was a part of that program, I can attest that it made a change in a lot of students' lives. Funny enough, I actually knew an elementary school kid who dated a girl just to get the AR points. But,
is that the profound change in life that you're talking about?
No, but what I've seen is there's something beautiful about an hour in which students get to go to the library. I remember very vividly, we had a paper mache tree. We would have story time underneath it, and we were given the opportunity to read whatever we wanted. And it was a time in which most of the time it was silence. It was a safe space which required you to sit with a book in front of you and open up your imagination, or open up your intellect and cause you to think. And I'm quite honestly sad that it didn't continue past the 5th grade, because what I saw after that were classes centered around reading a